morning! I'm Shannon Fiedler. I'm a comedian and I am releasing my debut comedy special here on YouTube on September 25th. If it's after September 25th, you could actually go and watch it right now. But if it's before September 25th, it's almost about to come out. So to celebrate that, I wanted to do a little like audience interaction moment with a AMA. And one of the questions I did get was, what does AMA mean? So if you don't know, it's ask me anything. You guys asked some really good questions. I'm gonna answer as many of them as I can. And you can put any questions you might have that weren't answered in the comments below. And make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss my comedy special, which this is in honor of, on September 25th. Did I say that enough times? Comedy special, September 25th, right here on YouTube. Okay. Favorite airplane seat? Aisle, because I drink so much water, I cannot make it through even a 1-hour flight without having to pee, and I'm a people pleaser, so if I'm not in the aisle, I just won't go to the bathroom because I don't want to ask anyone else to stand up. It's so fun to be me. How do you learn the quirks of all the cities for the city girls? I love talking about the city girls and I love talking about how I made these characters. I have a rule for myself that I will only do a character if I have either lived in that place firsthand or have a close contact of someone who has lived in that place. Look, anyone can Google like 12 things that are only in your state. Like there's 9,000 lists of those on the internet. You need that for it to feel authentic. I definitely talk about pizza and bagels in my Manhattan Woman, but if you just do that, it's not gonna resonate. It's not gonna feel real. And I think the reason that people relate to my characters and enjoy them so much is because they have full personalities that are shaped by those places. For example, DC girl. Sure, she talks about like Les Dip and The Hill, but she's competitive. Creating those characters and nailing them is about like knowing who they are on the inside and then using the references and the turns of phrases. That's what makes these people feel real. My coffee order, hot black coffee, genuinely. Very boring. But if I'm feeling like fun, I'll get like an iced latte with regular milk. I drink whole milk. I don't want any of this oat, almond, Q-tip milk. That I think is the most defiant thing about me in 2024 is that I drink milk from a cow. How did you get started in comedy? I actually got a lot of questions in that vein, which makes sense. That feels like the obvious question to ask. So if you are interested, you can watch my intro video, which gives you my whole history. But basically, after a lifetime of being a performer, then working as a writer for a while, I wanted to find a way to meld my two passions, performing and writing, and that's exactly what stand-up is. What's been the hardest part of your journey so far in becoming a great stand-up comic? Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment. Staying up late. I'm a very sleepy girl. I would go to bed at 9:30 every night if I could, but sometimes I work at 11:45 at night, so that's been a challenge. In all sincerity, I think like the actual hardest part has been finding the discipline to write every day when I only work for myself. Favorite bagel spread? Scallion cream cheese, obviously. Are the names of the characters in your City Girl sketches based off of real people? For example, Maureen. No. I don't know a Maureen, but like I know a Maureen, you know what I mean? If you watch, you hear there are recurring names. Obviously, Maureen is, I think, the most beloved of them all. She kind of appears in every Boston Girl sketch. Connecticut Girl, she has friends William and Charlotte, and she's married to Colton. Minnesota Girl, she's got a bit of a beef with Kirsty. No, they're not really, they're just based on like, I feel like those are names that you would hear in those places. The only one that is based off of a real person, Colorado Girl has a dog named Breck, named after Breckenridge, the mountain. I did steal that from real life. What is the best Taylor Swift album? I'm honestly embarrassed to tell you how much time I spend ranking Taylor Swift albums and Taylor Swift songs and track 1s and track 5s for literally no one. The best Taylor Swift album, this is not an easy choice because they're all good. But today, I would say Evermore, which I think is an unpopular opinion. But I stand by it. Champagne Problems, Gold Rush, 'Tis the Damn Season. That little 3 songs in a row, if I could only listen to that for the rest of my life, that would be fine. But if you ask me tomorrow, I might say it's Folklore. And then Speak Now holds a very special spot in my heart. I know that wasn't an answer, but I will give you Evermore. Evermore is my answer, okay? Oh, this is like a tactical one. Okay, I like this. To get a show at a venue, do you or your agent have to reach out, or is it the opposite? That is a really great question. To be honest, I think it depends. Like I've honestly had both. I've had my team reach out to venues that I wanted to go to. I've had venues reach out to my team or DM me personally on social media. And I'm sure this is different if you're like Mike Birbiglia. I'm sure they all come to him. But for me, someone at my level and where I'm at, I think it's a little bit of both, and just being strategic about where you're going is a big part of it as well. Let's see, what do I got here? Were you at the Killer show last night? LOL, I'm pretty sure I saw you. I was. By the time this comes out, it won't be last night, but the Killers are my favorite band, along with Springsteen and Taylor Swift. What % of the time do people call you Shannon Fiedler? 95. If people don't know me, 100% of the time. And if they do know me, 80. It's Fiedler, like feed me, as if I was Audrey 2 in Little Shop of Horrors. If you know, you know. Yeah, no one, it's always wrong. Okay, who is your favorite comedian? I have so many favorite comedians. John Mulaney, and I think a lot of people would say that, and I think for good reason. I just think nobody does it better than John Mulaney. Eliza Schlesinger. When I watched Freezing Hot, which is a very early special of hers, it's on Netflix, you can still watch it. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at comedy or resonated so hard with comedy. And I really think that like seeing her was the only reason I ever thought that I could get on stage and do comedy myself. She just is such a beautiful joke writer. Nate Bargatze, Fortune Femster, Mike Birbiglia. Seth Meyers has a special on Netflix called Lobby Baby, and I think it is one of the most well-written comedy specials I have ever seen. Did you actually go to prep school in Connecticut, or are you the talented Mrs. Ripley? I don't understand the second half of that question, but I sure did go to prep school in Connecticut. I think that is obvious from literally everything about me. Is there a character you really want to develop but you haven't quite cracked yet? I really want to add like a true Southern belle. I really want to have like a North Carolina girl, South Carolina girl, like in that realm. I have Dallas girl, she reps the South for me, but like, I don't know, Texas is like its own thing. I want to get like that other Southern piece, like the Carolinas, but I don't know anybody who lives in those places to give me like actual information. So if you live in those places and you want to become the consultant for North Carolina girl or South Carolina girl, hit a girl up. I got a handful of questions about people asking if I was going to be performing in their cities. Just keep an eye on my pages and on my website because I'm always announcing new dates and you never know. How's that for vague? Favorite author? My favorite author is actually my mom. Yeah, my mom is a very successful author. She has so many books published, mostly in the young adult or children's book space. She's been doing it literally my whole life. So like growing up, I didn't know that that was like a cool thing for your parents' job to be. I was just like, everybody's mom is a published author. Her name is Lisa Fiedler. I recommend We Walked the Sky. And if you have kids, then you should check out Mouse Heart. Beyond my mother, Taylor Jenkins Reid. Daisy Jones is one of my favorite books of all time. I really like everything I've ever read by her, but Daisy Jones. I also love Frederick Bachman. He wrote A Man Called Ove, Anxious People, Beartown. He is so witty. I love reading. I love books. What % of ideas and jokes make it into a show? These are great questions, you guys. Okay, let me think about this. They're two sort of different things because like, I would say ideas, like good ideas. I want to preface that. Something that I think of that I'm like, there's something there. Eventually, I think that almost all of them will make them into a show because I can't let go of them. And I'm gonna keep working on them until I can crack them. And sometimes it might literally be years later. Like I'm revisiting stuff now that I wrote that got killed from this special that's coming out. But I'm like, I actually still think there's something there. So like, let me play with it again. Jokes is a little bit different because you try a lot of jokes. They get killed a lot more frequently. So I would say like, maybe 50% of the jokes I write actually end up sticking around. A lot of them just end up morphing, and they morph so slowly where you change a word here, or you change a phrase here, or you change the end of the joke, and then eventually it's a new joke. You gotta be willing to kill your darlings, because if you're holding on to something just because you wrote it, that's not good. I hope that answered the question. What hair products do you use? I get asked this a lot, so I actually made a video about how I do my hair, so if you actually want to know the answer, I would recommend watching that. I would say that the most important parts of my hair routine are Moroccan oil, the Revlon one-step blow dryer, and Velcro curlers. How many inappropriate questions did you get? None! That's never happened to me before, so thank you for your decorum, everyone. How long does it take to perfect one of your impressions? Forever. I'm still working on them. I don't think any of them are perfected per se. Like I'm always working on them in big ways and in small ways. For example, Minnesota Girl, in the past I've had her sound, you know, very Canadian almost, like Fargo. And now I'm trying to get her to be a little more like Minnesota flat in that area. And it's a slight difference, but I am working on it. It's kind of a constant quest without a real end goal. I hope they're always getting better and stronger and funnier. Cop out. Who are the biggest influences in your career? I have a really corny answer for this. My parents and my husband. Aww. Partially because most of my jokes are about them in some capacity, but also because I'm constantly asking their advice and getting their support. I know that's not really what this question was asking, but that's the answer that you're gonna get. What is the ideal crowd like for a comedy show? Great question. Present. I think that's the most important thing, is that you're present and you are going because you want to have a good time. We want to make you laugh. If you want to laugh, we're gonna have a better time. I'm not saying you should laugh at things that aren't funny, but go in with an open mind, be generous with your laughter, and just be present. I can't tell you how many times I'm watching a show or performing on a show and audience members are just on their cell phone texting. It's distracting for the comic on stage. It's frankly kind of disrespectful, but also it's just you're in a room with other people connecting over humor. What an awesome experience. Not the best time to be on your phone. Don't text, because we can see the phone lights up. You're not fooling anyone. You guys had such good questions. If you want more of these, let me know in the comments. Ask me any other questions that you might have. On September 25th and every day thereafter for the rest of eternity, you can go and watch my debut hour of comedy, 30 Flirty and Crying. And please like and subscribe and stay up to date on all of my content. I have so much stuff coming to YouTube in the next couple months, and I can't wait for you to see it all. Thanks for your insightful and fun questions. Thanks for following along. I'm Shannon Fiedler, and I'll see you next time.